Good afternoon, this is Pat Walker at Mission Winners doing an ETF overview for everybody. Here's biotechnology. By the way, this is the 200-day, the 50-day, the 21-day, and the 80 MA. It's below all the falling moving averages, but it did show some life right here. But it needs to start turning a corner and lift up. Possible higher low, but the market's rough, so be careful with that. Next one, cloud computing. This is just weak. Lower lows, there's nothing really good about it. Be careful with cloud computing stocks. It's that simple. Electric vehicles, Tesla, NIO. Look at this. What's it telling you? Stay away. Look at this. It goes up. The next day it gaps down on Thursday and closes right near its bottom half of its range on a big pickup in volume. It's telling us there's sellers there, institutional selling in electrical vehicles. Be careful with that. By the way, you can always see what this is up here in the upper left-hand corner. First Trust Dow Jones Internet, lower lows. I mean, it's in a downtrend. Be careful with it. IBD 50. I mean, this is the index of the quote-unquote the leading stocks. It's a great proxy. It's wonderful. But look at what it's doing. This isn't leadership. You're not going to see this setup in any book anywhere saying, this is what you look for. No, it's not. Look at the fall here on heavy volume. So be careful with the quality IBD 50 stocks. Gold miners picking up a little bit. See that? Gold miners. Oh, and look at the volume. Now that's something maybe look at. Gold miners. Ready? And then gold. What does that tell us? Gold's okay, but gold miners are better. There you go. That's connecting the dots. And look at this. Gold miners closed in the top half of its range. I'm not trying to tell you to buy it. Please. That's not my point. I'm just pointing out some things to take into consideration. I've been doing this for a long time. There's things that you learn that help you make better investing decisions and more money and also not lose as much. Gold miners closed in the top half of its range on a pickup in volume. Gold closed in the bottom fifth of its range on a pickup in volume. That's not good. Tells you gold miners okay, gold not so good. There we go. Biotechnology below all the moving averages, nothing really special there. Just like the other one. Online retail, nothing special there. Okay, just leave it there. Oil and gas, it's not a lot of power there, folks. Fell on heavy volume below the 50-day. Needs to show some real power before we get interested in that area. Okay, technology, software. What does this tell you? Technology, stay away. It's that simple. It's just that quick. Okay, I better be careful with technology. You can say, well, that's just one example. Well, let's continue on and see if we see any others. Okay, here we go. Medicine, I think they need a shot. Okay, nothing great there. Mid caps, lagging, nothing great there. Here we go. Home construction, not a lot of power. I will say the one plus is this. Went up on really heavy volume on Wednesday, but no power since then. And it's just a function of the market. It could have a potential higher low, but note this. It's below all the moving averages and they're all falling. You won't see this setup in any book saying this is what you look for. Okay, so be careful with that. S&P 500 growth, hitting lows for the move on heavier volume on Friday. That tells you be careful with the S&P 500 growth. Small caps lagging, be careful with that. Airlines, yeah, they're grounded. Okay, dead humor. Regional banking, nothing great there. Be careful. Mid cap lagging, falling on volume. You can say, well, this was a pretty good bar. These are the things we talk about Mission Winners. Goes up on above average volume. So, oh, that's really great. The next day they take it right back down on really heavy volume. The next day they take it down on heavy volume too. That's not so good. That's information. That's power that we teach. So things to look for. Oil services, yeah, it's lagging. Nothing great here. All right. Oil lagging. Nothing great there. Online retail, yep, I guess they're not going to do so much right now, are they? Infrastructure lagging. Be careful with it. Pharmaceuticals, they need a shot. QLD, lows for the move. I mean, folks, this owns the big name growth stocks, the NASDAQ 100, the Mambo companies, hitting lows for the move. Now, I need to pause here and share this with you. I'm not being negative. Please, there's a great quote. I never met a wealthy pessimist, but I'm just pointing out what is happening. But be aware of this. We are coming into the fourth quarter of the year. Frequently, the fourth quarter, and you can go back and look. This is not an opinion. Look at the fourth quarter. Go back 10 years and tell me what you see in the fourth quarter over and over. Could happen again, and we'll be ready. But right now, we're just being cautious, and that helps us. QQQ, same as QLD, nothing there. Retail, lagging, nothing there. Cloud computing, looks like it's raining. Silver, it's okay. A little bit of resistance here. It does have a higher low, all right. Had a good bar here. Maybe it'll get through the 50-day, but not, you know, again, there's a lot of pressure in the market, so you got to be careful. Steel, not so great. Semiconductors, they hit lows for the move. Be careful with semiconductors. That's another one. Spiders, here we go. Look at this. Fell down on a pickup in volume. By the way, this entire decline, we basically held some stocks and sold a bunch into strength. But are we buying and forcing ourselves? No. There's a great quote from Dave Landry. I'll believe in what I see and not in what I believe. Let the charts tell you what to do. Notice this. You can say, and this is a great tactic. I read this years ago. You want to know what the trend is? Take a picture of this, put it up, print it out, put it up on the wall, walk to the other side of the room and look at it. What's the trend? The trend is down, but eventually it will change, okay? It will change. When? I don't know. But you see these declines on volume? You think we've been buying? Nope, we've been sitting out, and that's just fine. SSO, same thing. Look at the red bars. That ain't Uncle Ernie and Aunt Bee selling, okay? Here we go. Solar, yeah, so-so, nothing really great there. Be careful. Small caps lagging, be careful with it. Uranium, not so good, okay? Be careful with it. Oil, another oil, not so great. Be careful with it. Aerospace and defense, you tell me. You won't see this anywhere saying this is what you look for to buy. Be careful with aerospace and defense. Biotechnology ran up and faded off, okay? You see this? Had a good day here, fell on less volume, and then on this bar, gaps, baseball opens unchanged basically, runs up, closes in the bottom third of its range on a pickup in volume. There's not a lot of power here. It's below the falling 50-day. It's below the falling 200-day. Be careful with biotechnology. Just sharing that with you. Home builders, not so great. Materials, near the lows. Be cautious with that. Energy, yeah, it was good, but it's below the moving averages. Be careful with it. Financials. It's not good when the financials are dropping, folks. Be careful with the financials. Industrials lagging, be careful with it. Technology, folks, it's hitting lows for the move. It's been weak for a while. What does that say? Stay away from technology. And we have. We have. And it's not rocket science. You look at this and say, is this what I want to be involved with? No, it's not. So leave it alone. Never impose. We can never impose our will on the stocks. We let them, the price and volume action combined, tell us what to do. And that's why I'm grateful we're saying consumer staples, the consumer. I mean, this is the staples. These are the things that are not discretionary stuff, the things you have to have. Toilet paper and toothpaste. This ain't so good, folks. Be cautious. Just sharing it with you. Utilities, look at this. Why is this fun? I mean, you can say, oh, that's a safe sector, Pat. Yes, it is. It's a defensive sector, and it's dropping too. Why? Interest rates. Interest rates. Money goes where it's treated best, and there's real pressure on stocks because of the interest rate rising situation. So just be careful. Utilities, there's nothing to do with it, and there hasn't been anything to do with it. Leave it alone. That's power. Healthcare, I think they need a shot too. Nothing great there. Consumer discretionary, yeah, I guess they're being discreet and not buying that sector. How about that? Metals and mining, maybe a higher low, but nothing really great there. The one plus is this. On Wednesday, it rallied up on heavy volume. Maybe it's going to form a higher low, all right? But tons of overhead. Okay, just be aware of that. Another energy ETF, resistance at the 200-day, rallied, had good volume here, then nothing. Be careful with energy, all right? Retail, they ain't shopping. Software, you had a good day on Wednesday, but since then, not a lot. Now let's look at the max list. These are the names, the big institutional names. Here we go. First one, Apple. What's the trend? The trend is down, and it's falling on heavy volume. That's a negative. Eventually, it will turn, and when it does, we'll be ready. By the way, speaking of the higher low, this lifted up, and then it went sideways, and then it had a pickup right in here, buys here, See the higher low setup? This low higher than this low? Buys here and here. And folks, take a look at this. First buy here, we'll call it 140. Second buy here, we'll call it 147, 148. That sucker runs all the way up into the mid 170s. That's good money. Note the trend up the 8 EMA. This was on the key list. VIPs bought this. There you go. 100% prepared and then got out and locked in the gains. So trends pay. Again, the 8-period exponential. What's the trend now? The trend is down. Be cautious. Amazon dropping. Fell here on a slight pickup in volume. The trend is down. It's going to turn. It will turn. But we just have to wait for it. By the way, this also had a higher low setup. This low higher than this low. This is something I've been using at Mission Winners long before we had Mission Winners. I've been doing this for a good portion of this century into the last century. The higher low setup and the run. There we go. Nothing to do with it now, though. Alibaba, all I can say is there's nothing really great there. Okay, the trend is down. Lifted a little bit, showing a little bit of strength, but just be cautious with it. BIDU, similar situation. Not a lot of power there, okay? Google, what's the trend? The trend is down. That's it. Wait, just wait. It'll turn. It will turn. And you'll be ready with a clear head and a good plan of attack. At Mission Winners, we know what to do, and we've got the discipline to wait for it. But for right now, I'm glad we're not in it. Meta, or the old Facebook, the trend is down. That's it. Microsoft, not so good. Netflix, this is one of the better looking ones, isn't it? These are the MAXLIST stocks. It's going sideways. Perhaps, by the way, had good volume on this part, but then gave it all right back on heavier volume here. It needs to go across these tops here, and it needs to do it on really heavy volume. But in relation to a lot of the other MAXLIST stocks, this one doesn't look so bad, does it? At this point in time. There you go. NVDA, trend is down. You've got to be careful. But I mentioned the higher low setup, and I'm sharing this with everybody. Do you see this low here was higher than this low? This was in July. It buys here. Look at the run. That was nice. That was real nice. Simple, vanilla. Tesla, dropping here. This was talked up, and they gave it all right back. The power of the markets, okay? The M in Mission Winners, the markets, don't argue with it. But in relation to other MAXLIST stocks, this one doesn't look near as bad, does it? All right? So it's something to bear watching. Not recommended buying yet, but eventually it could turn. Also, this was a higher low setup. This low was higher than this low in July. And that was a good March. That was on the key list. Nothing to do with it now, though. And then you've got Twitter. Twitter's picked up a little bit here. It's probably the best looking MAXLIST stock. Here's the one fly in the ointment. It's related to potential, we know, merger, takeover talks, and all that. There's a struggle there with it. So be aware of that. If any news changes, it could go up or it could go down. Just be aware of it. Had a decent day on Friday, but pressured back a little bit, partially because of the market. Anyway, that is an overview of the MAXLIST stocks. What's the big takeaway at this point in time? Well, we'll look at the SSO, and you can say there's just not a lot there. And then we'll look at QLD, and you can say, and there's just not a lot there. And that's it. But we know it can change. By the way, you see this post here? I want to show you something. Well, look at that drop. This was last year. Look at this drop. Oh my gosh, this is the end of the world. Oh golly, look at this. And then what'd you get? You get a higher low in October. What's today's date? Okay, you get my point. We're in October. See this decline here? Ugly. Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. And then it puts in a higher low, right? And it does that. And folks, that is a very, very good run. Okay? Fourth quarter, case in point. So anyway, I just want to point out we're always prepared. I hope this helps you. just a better understanding of what's going on in the markets. Overall, err to the side of caution.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.